And by the way, when I did the fundraiser in Frankfurt a couple weeks ago for Sasha Farm, I hope people realize I never did this for adoration. That's why you don't see any books that I wrote that are out there. I consider the speeches that I did my audio books. So it was kind of weird to have everybody fawning all over me. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing to see the lives I've affected. Everybody there was a Gary vegan, which is what I say nowadays. And if they didn't become vegan because of me, they all told me they became an activist because of me. But it was never about, oh, Gary, look at Gary. So I ended up telling stories so people weren't hanging up because it was weird to be like all that. A lot of people want that spotlight. It was something special. I used to do that all the time in the classroom. I mean, it was constant. 20% of the class, 50% of the class. Sometimes the entire class would go vegan. I would see change happen all the time. So it was. You can still say, man, that speech was kick-ass, and Gary converted hundreds of thousands of people around the world, maybe millions. They're telling me to veganism, and I did so much for the animals. You should support me for that cause, for that reason alone. So I say this. I want everybody to know the vast majority of all my lectures were wonderful. I averaged about 200 lectures every year. 180, 185 were beautiful, non-divisive comment. Telling stories about turning the whole class vegan, that's not a good story to me. It sounds arrogant. Oh my God, everybody cried and told me I changed their lives. They stood up in a line to exit the room to shake my hand. I became an expert in the Bible over the years, had to talk to so many people. So I completely annihilated his argument. Found a student starts posturing me walking down the hallway with his chest out. Not a good idea to do to me. He comes back a second time to posture me. I cannot believe the audacity. He comes back a third time. I grab him by the neck. I hang him over the balcony. Erica's grabbing me around the neck. Gary, don't throw him off the balcony. I'm going to throw you off the balcony. The kid's freaking out. She finally pulls me off the kid. The kid runs away. So I got to go tell the professor what happened, of course. So I walked back to the class and I said, hey, Alan, you know that kid that brought up the Bible and God? He goes, yeah. I said, well, he was posturing me in the hallway and I grabbed him by the neck. I was going to throw him off the second floor balcony. He says, Gary, you got to stop doing lectures on the second floor. So what was funny was the people that I got into a quarrel with, surprise, surprise, they were the troublemakers, they were the jerks, they were the dickheads always. I also stopped watching all the documentaries over the years. I'd already gathered all the information I had needed over the years, and I was just so focused on my classroom presentations, I wasn't even keeping up with what was going on in the movement. I was in my own world. The producers contacted me before it came out. I think one of them said I influenced them to become vegan or influenced them to become a great activist. I mean, seriously, I learned everything on the fly. All of a sudden, I pieced it together, and then by 2010, that Georgia Tech speech everybody loves, I laid it out perfectly in my heyday, man. It was some tight shit. I'm telling you, it was tight. You saw a lot of it.
Oh, we saw that, and I think you're still sharp, Gary. We've got another.
Well, I bully the bully. I can bully back better than anybody. So when I was lecturing in Israel in 2012 and 13, which was some stunning stuff, by the way, I think they're reporting I converted anywhere from 5 to 10% of the population. I'm so glad I got to see that on my way out. But because I converted somebody down there, great activist near Rosenfeld, he's got 7 vegan restaurants in Frankfurt, and I contacted them. I said, don't get too excited, but I'm considering coming down there just to hang out and check out these restaurants. And Gary Tofu, who was a pig there for a long time, I did make them name him after me. I was there the day somebody brought this baby pig. I'm like, there's a baby pig in that van, and I ran up to it. I'm like, you have to call him Gary Tofu, and he was everybody's favorite for a long time. So I kind of created this, by the way. I was convincing people in early 2000 that education back then was only about 2 to 5%, if that. And I was saying, this is crazy. We need to teach people. We didn't know at one time. Unless we teach people, nothing's going to change. So I wanted more of it. I didn't mean for it to be 100%. When you're getting this spicy wit. Okay, this is George Carlin speaking. Darren, you know the hundreds of thousands of people around the world that I converted? That strangers come up to me crying and say that I changed their lives? By the way, when I walk in the gym, and most of them are meat eaters, I converted several people there. Awesome. Italy's been rocking, man. Italy's doing some good stuff. And there's a lot of Gary vegans down there, too. Well, I don't know about it, but I'm pretty sure that I was the first person to come up with this. By the way, so did Vegan Gains kind of say the same thing I was saying? Didn't ask me questions and then just back off. You can see, like, get out of my way. I just stopped watching documentaries over the years because I got the information that I needed to go out and do my activism. I never wanted to write a book because my speech was actually reaching beyond the vegan movement. So, in fact, when I was in Israel for those 2 years of lectures, which was amazing, the speech is cutting. And I mean, it's wonderful. You can see the growth of Gary. And it's actually very interesting, too. And just so you know, I don't sit around watching my old stuff. In fact, I haven't seen my stuff since I retired. And when I knew I was coming to Germany, I started putting it on. I couldn't remember 90% of it. I'm watching this go, oh my God, I said that? Holy shit, that's tight. Okay, I know why people are listening. I know why people follow me. And I would yell out, Erica, do you remember I said that? She goes, yeah, I remember. Everybody remembers but you. So and I wrote that whole lecture. Now, because I'm arrogant, because Kate said, you know how to say things. You write my part too. So I wrote it. And when 10 guys came up to me, man, I love your stuff. And man, you're kind of a big vegan. Okay, I didn't know you could be big as a vegan. And then 10 women came up to her and said, he's so harsh. I really like what you said and how you said it. And Kate tells me afterward later on, she says, I'm laughing inside because I wanted to tell them he wrote every word that I said. Just like he said, you thought it would come out better because I said it like a woman and it was softer. So that was a cool speech too. And then there were several more. I said, but trust me, when I start speaking, you don't need a microphone. I'm like Pavarotti. I'm like Rob Halford from Judas Priest. You don't need a mic. You can hear me. So my freestyles back then were kind of like Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm. The crowd is laughing and getting it. There's a lot of truth and sarcasm. So I always use that. That was my George Carlin militant comedy roast with Malcolm X mixed into the speech style. So that was really sweet. I'm glad he got that one on tape because I was on fire that day. People have told me I'm overly critical of myself. You caught me a couple weeks in every semester or mid-semester like that one. Watch out, I'm on fire. I wasn't into documenting every single thing I did. Now, as I look back, I kind of wish there was more, especially Q&A sessions on video. It really would have been cool. The Q&A sessions were usually fantastic too. I really shine in that moment. Listen, I can deal with a hunter in most cases. I can deal with a vivisectionist because I don't think that they've heard the message properly. In fact, I always think, man, just give me 5 minutes with them. I can break it down. Now, that doesn't mean I will, but that's how I think. In fact, I ran into somebody at the AD protest yesterday saying he was a fan of mine. I'm not vegan anymore. I'm like,
blunt.
What am I supposed to say to you? I said, let me tell you this. As only Gary can be blunt. You can just know that I'm South Park. I make fun of everybody because I'm feeling great. I'm 54. Most people can't tell. I'm in the best shape of my life.
The way you talk, the way your delivery. Is that natural to you, or did you learn this from like the books that you read that was mentioned in this interview? And can you recommend us those books?
No, it wasn't the books. That's me. And I'm just an entertaining fella. Listen, I'm positive all my friends just keep me around for the entertainment factor. I've told them over the years, you guys, you just want to know what happened to you today. I'm like, you won't believe what happened. Crazy shit always happens to me. And I don't know. I'm animated. Look at me now. I'm a very animated person when I believe in something and I want to say something. So that's really all it is. It's natural, honestly. So they always say, Gary, you're too emotional. Emotion is the only thing that has changed the world. You don't think the I Have a Dream speech by Dr. King was emotional? You got to be kidding me. I have a dream? That's pure emotion. That touched people's hearts. Mine too. Professors always told me, all of my professors, we never met somebody so open and honest, ready to discuss every issue and how they feel about it. We also never met a real activist. My God, I never met a real live activist. The professors love my openness. Takes me down to his class and he says the kindest things anyone ever said to me, introducing me. You have to hear this man speak. You might not agree, but he speaks from the heart. It's real stuff. You want to even out everything. Bring me in. I'm the evener. I'm the one that they need to hear. They never heard this. And I asked them, how come they're so wonderful to me? They listen to every word. They're taking notes. They got a notepad out. They would always say, they can't believe that you would come here to speak to them. Nobody comes to Halifax County Community College. You could be all these other places, and you chose to come here. That's where I wanted to be, in rural America. I tell you what, I had a ton of success in rural America. I really did. And I converted hunters. I did, a lot of them. I'll surprise everybody. My best talks also happened in Texas. Give me a chance. That's why I'm here. I want to prove it to you. And at the end, you say, you know what, Gary? That's the best speech ever in my life. You got me. Well, how could you know everything? Why aren't you up here teaching somebody? So yeah, it was genuine. It was real. And as my friends would say, it was quite entertaining. I have an authority problem, in case you can't tell. And it didn't faze me that he was pointing his gun at me. We used to get media back in the day. Most of the time, I was by myself, getting front page articles in the Detroit Free Press, Detroit News, getting on the WJR radio, WWJ, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7. For anybody out there that wants to make a difference, live by the adage I live by. If you want something done right, do it yourself. Look at the change I made.
Turning the whole class vegan, that's not a good story to me. It sounds arrogant. Oh my God, everybody cried and told me I changed their lives. They stood up in a line to exit the room to shake my hand.